So there is one simple rule that applies in order to go from $0 and broke to be able to manage personally multi-six-figure on my personal bank account and also be able to scale 2 different companies to over 7-figure per year. And I did that with the 15, 65, 20% rule. And that's what I learned over the last decades by being an entrepreneur, that I tried to be an entrepreneur, and I had to do that for survival. So it doesn't matter right now if you're making $50,000 per year or $500,000 per year, or just if you receive $1, this rule is still applicable for everybody. So it's never about how much money you make. It's always about how you manage what you make. But the real reason why I'm making this video is because I know this rule works even if you start from $0. And I know that it works even if you're making millions of dollars per year. Because over the past 24 months, I met so many rich people, and each one of them confirmed that this rule is exactly what they're doing unconsciously. And let me guide you immediately on the first step, which is pay yourself first. Guys, the first rule states that you have to save at least 15% of all your money you make. Doesn't matter if you receive $1,000 from your grandma, or doesn't matter if you're making $20K per month. For every money you receive, for every dollar you receive, you save 15% of your money and you put it on the side. What does it mean? It means that these first 15% are literally the foundation of the financial world that you're going to build beyond your family, thanks to the 15, 65, and 20% rule. There is a very powerful concept in the Bible that says the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. Being diligent in this very small step allows you to take courage and take power for the next step. And the first real thing that did for me the 15% rule is to give me peace of mind. So let's say that right now your phone is gonna fall from the pocket, you're gonna break your phone. What are you gonna do? You're gonna leave it without the phone? Of course not, you're gonna buy another phone. Or even a slightly worse situation, let's say that some of your parents need an immediate operation. Of course, guys, we are talking about life that happens to everybody. The 15% allows you to be a very strong person in very delicate situation because you have money that are working for you, first of all, in peace of mind. And literally what you have to do is very simple, because you just need to have one checking account and one saving account. It's very simple. You don't need to be an expert in finance, nothing. You just need to have one account where you receive your money, and the second bank account is gonna receive all the 15% of your money you receive for life. And of course, this first step allows you to do the second one, which is your first solution fund. What does it mean is that the 15% allows you to save for a one solution fund, which is a sort of small emergency fund that allows you to cover one full month of expenses, of core expenses that you have, which are the most important, which are of course the mortgage and rent of your house, the groceries, the transportation, the utilities. So let's say that in a month you're spending more than $1,800, then your first goal have to be to save at least 1 month of your core expenses in order to be prepared for those events. And then of course, these leave the foundations to build a real emergency fund that have to be between 3 and 6 months of living expenses. This of course is discretionary. It really depends on how much paranoid you are. For example, in my case, I'm very paranoid. I have 8-9 months of living expenses on the side, but 3 months, if you're at the beginning, is all you need. And it's very important, this concept, because when you have this room of breathing, because that's exactly what I like to call it. When you can breathe, you don't have to borrow breathing. So you don't have to go on credit cards and basically go in debt in order to fix bad events. So the first step of the 15%, 65, and 20% rules allows you to have not only oxygen for you, but oxygen for the people you love the most. And finally, I was saying put your first foot, because that's the goal, in the wealth creation mode, because that's the part we love the most. Now, very important, now, when you have finally created your emergency fund, now the third step is to start making your money works for you for real. And I know that if you're at the beginning, you seem a little bit intimidated in the whole process, but it's actually way more easier than you think. And the coolest thing about this type of funds is that you don't have to go there and pick stocks and understand the market and understand what you're doing, where you put your money. No, instead the index fund invests for you in a package of stocks, in a package of companies that are basically the most secure company you can invest in. So you know that actually you're investing your money based on statistics and data and all about what a YouTuber says or what your emotions are saying or impulses, right? Of course, it's not a guarantee that your money go from, for example, let's say $10,000 to $38,000. That, by the way, this is literally a realistic expectancy of your money back, but of course, it's never a guarantee. But statistically speaking, you can make 7% or 10% your money back every single year. The cool thing is a concept that is called compound interest, is that if you invest only $10,000 right now, so you don't invest anything per month, you just take $10,000 and you put in the market. If you just wait 20 years, just waiting, not doing anything, basically you make back $38,000. Now, of course, it's not a great amount of money, but you're not doing anything. And of course, you don't have to have $10,000. You can even invest $100, $50, right? But of course, the discipline to put every single month $50, $100 inside these index funds allows you to build wealth. And at some point, you have even the sensation that you forgot about the money, but instead they are working in the market every single day for you. That's exactly the meaning of money and why money exists. Money works for you, whether it's for spending, of course, living your life, buying for you foods and bring you around in the train, in the plane and whatever, but also works for you to make more money for you. So when it comes to choosing an index funds or a passive funds, of course, I'm not a financial advisor. It's just my experience. I always invest in S&P 500. And basically what it does, again, invest for you in all the companies. And this is just an example of the visualizing the entire S&P 500. And here you see all the companies that instead of, for example, investing directly in Visa. So let's say that a CEO of Visa do something very bad. I don't know, they find him partying outside in the wrong moment of the year. The stock can drop 20%. So if you invest directly in Visa, basically if you invest $1,000, your money go down by 20%. Instead, with the S&P 500, you track all these companies that of course are the best companies you can find in the US. And yeah, you get exposure to all these companies automatically. Now, right now I want to give you a very strong concept that of course changed everything for me when it comes to understanding why money are so powerful. And you have to start right now building all the strategy. So the 15% rule, 65 rules, and 20% rule that I'm going to state in just a second. But yeah, to let you understand, so let's say that right now you invest $10,000, right? But you also make small contribution, let's say of $100, $500, or $1,000. And I give you literally 3 different examples. So in the case that you invest only $100 per month extra from the $10,000, instead of having $38,000 like we saw here, you're gonna have $92,000. So just with $100 per month, thanks to the power of compounding, the compound interest, you make $92,000 basically passively. Because that's exactly what it is. You're not doing anything. You're not working more. You're not putting more hours. You're just making your money works for you every single month. That if you invest instead of 100, you invested $500 per month, so basically $400 more per month. That of course for a lot of people can be a lot. But of course when you are building wealth, $500 is not a lot of money, because once we lay out the foundation of saving 15% of your money every single month, and then you're also able potentially to negotiate some of the core expenses that are the mortgage, for example, or the rent, or the food you pay per month, or anything, you're able to save, okay, $50 here, $100 here, or even you ask for a raise. That's how you make $400 extra, right? But because you're already in the wealth creation mode and everything becomes much more clear. And I can guarantee you that the real shift in your wealth creation journey is when you realize that $500 or $1,000 extra can literally change your financial life. So in this case, only $400 extra instead of $38,000, instead of $92,000 brings $300,000 extra in your bank account. Or even here, that is basically $500 more, $1,000 extra that you have can make $500,000. And if you stop for a second and you ask yourself, how many people in this world have a net worth of over $500,000? The answer is much, much less than 1%. And that's how much is important to have extra cash every single month. So for example, in my case, I have my publishing business. So basically I don't write books, but I'm still able to make millions of dollars per year from books because I understood a skill that brings me money. And then of course people start to ask me questions, oh my gosh, what you're doing, oh, how you can do that, how you can afford this. And then of course we open our community where basically you are able to understand that and understand how to build your first online business from scratch. That's exactly what we did. So for example, this is our community where you join. There is a lot of people that are making insane results on, of course, how to publish books online, right? Doesn't matter if you're not a writer, doesn't matter if you're not an author. We teach you how to find profitable book topics and then solve people problems, not with YouTube videos like this one, not with podcasts, not with any other business model, but with books, right? So solving them the problem with books. And then just an example, Ricard, that just published 4 days ago, of course, published the results that he did. It was able to make over $10,000 in a single month thanks to this business. So that's another way that you can increase your income per month in order to be able then to invest much more in the market. So by the way, guys, if you're interested in this, there is a link in the description to join. But yeah, That's another solution. Now, I want to go straight away right now in the first step. So right now we just covered the 15%. Right now we covered pretty fast the 65% and the 20%, which is of course the core expenses. So in the 65% case, the mistake that a lot of people are doing is that even if they start in earning more money, they spend more money. So it means that the rent goes up, they choose to rent a better house, or they decide to take a better car, they decide to spend more money in food, or they decide to go more often in the restaurant. Guys, don't do that. Be very, very disciplined in the expenses you do per month while you're increasing your income, at least in the first phase of your wealth creation. And then later you are even more flexible to do whatever you want, because that's the end goal of everything. In fact, the next step, which is the last one, which is the 20% step, that basically allows you to travel, stay guilt-free with experiences, stay energized. So this part is crucial, because if you're not energized, if you're not motivated for the money, then you're not able to even pay yourself the first 15%. So everything is in complete balance between the 15, 65, and 20% rule that allows you to have much more money in your life and freedom. Now, I want to give you a very cool book recommendation, which is Die with Zero. It's an insane book that lets you exactly understand what is the goal with money. The ultimate goal with money isn't to die with a massive bank account, but to use your money to create a rich and fulfilling life. Yeah, guys, thanks to watch the video. Put a like if you like the content, and yeah, see you soon.